Yo, what's up, Foolys? This is your boy Othree. Welcome back to the Othree Exhibit. This is exhibit number 32. This is for the family, friends, and followers of Chris E.R. We talk about identity, being an educator, his music journey, and more. This is the story of Chris E.R. Post up and enjoy. Welcome. Welcome to the podcast, to the O3 Exhibit. You want to introduce yourself before we begin?
For sure. I think you need a theme song, bro. Something like do Foolys World. Yeah.
Some shit like that, huh? Like a little
Yeah,
Arthur theme song type shit.
yeah, bro. You need to Yeah, but yeah, what's up, y'all? Thank you so much for, letting me come on your platform. Super appreciative, big fan of your work and everything. And but yeah, my name's Chris E.R. An artist from LA. Um, super proud to be brown and proud, and you know what I mean, and proud to be, educated, proud to be an educator, you know what I mean. And yeah, I'm just trying to, lay the framework for my own family, but also, people that look like me. And yeah, just you know what I mean. I just want to, keep getting blessings and being a blessing, you know what I mean. And yeah, I mean that's all it is, bro. I just like
You said brown and proud. Let's talk about that. Let's get into your family, your roots, and your identity. So my first question to you is, where's your family from? Where do your roots begin?
Man, I appreciate that question. Yeah, it's been I think my story begins in the 310. I was born in Torrance, California, UCLA Medical Center. Next to the 405.
To be specific,
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's yeah, I'm just proud of just proud of being from LA, and proud of coming from a working class family. My godfather worked in, LAX for, decades. And a lot of my family did, and his wife did, and my uncle, working in there. And I'm just proud of yeah, coming from, a family of immigrants. My mother came here when she was 7 years old. Um and and not legally. But it's past the statute of limitations, so you know what I mean. But so
fuck it, boy. We
can't catch us.
we out here rowdy shit. Let's get it.
But but yeah, coming from crazy stories like that, right? Where to even come to the country, they had to my mom telling me stories of, they crossed the desert and they couldn't look up, or the helicopters would see the light shine in their eyes. Crazy shit like that, right?
Oh,
So
what the fuck? That's crazy.
yeah, it's even and then my grandma, she's like another worldly spirit. And she said that she crossed the border a couple times, like back and forth to help other people and shit. And she didn't get caught, and she's touched by, some other type of spirits. But but um but yeah, just coming from crazy stories where it's even a blessing to just be in this country. It's kind of like the backdrop to things, and sometimes we kind of forget our own stories and shit. And I'm kind of guilty of that too. Um but yeah, just having that backdrop of it even being a journey to come here, to get here. And and then but yeah.
Where's your mom from?
Oh, yeah, that was the original question. But yeah, I'm from the my family's from Lennox. And but my mom's from El Salvador, my dad's from Mexico, Guadalajara. My mom, yeah, she's from like close to the capital, Salvador. Um, but yeah, even understanding, or trying to dip into the history of those two countries, and their relationship to the U.S. is a mindfuck to me too. That I'm constantly dissecting, and Yeah, and in college, I kind of, you know, um, like to research a lot about the US's hands and the reason why people even have to migrate, right? Um, yeah, like the reason, like the fact that Reagan put $25 million, of military aid into El Salvador, um, and effectively helped to, disrupt and add chaos and turmoil and bloodshed to the area. Um, and it's a logical domino effect that people would want to even flee their homeland, right? That nobody wants to leave their homeland, and um, but yeah, it's yeah, I think that that struggle of just having safety on our land and having a piece of land is like a struggle for the brown person on I feel like in the you know, um, northern hemisphere, you know what I mean? Like, um, we've been all the way to the 500 years ago where, there was, colonization and now gentrification, right? But it's, yeah, it's like the struggle is, it's kind of branded into our genes a little bit. And, but yeah,
The struggle and the resilience.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. You got
Have
to
you
have that
ever
balance, I appreciate.
have you ever been to El Salvador? Let's talk about El Salvador first, then we get into Mexico. Ever been there?
No, I haven't been to El Salvador, bro. I really want to. I was lucky to go to TJ for a bit on a student trip. Um, didn't get wasted there, unfortunately, but I got to go to Dominican Republic,
Mm.
also in college, and yeah, that was a really dope experience to see another part of the world and see the kick it with some locals and see the sunrise on another part of the world. That was really dope.
So
But
you've never so you
but I
say you
never
never
got
been to El Salvador and you've never been to Guadalajara?
exactly, no, haven't been to my own motherland. No, it's definitely something I need to do.
How much do you know about those two specific areas? You talked about El Salvador as a whole and you talked about the Civil War. Have you
Yeah.
ever sat down and or ever had the luxury to talk to your mom about how life was where she's from or how
Mm,
she grew up? Because she came at 7 years old, right? So I mean, it's kind of hard for her to remember. Do you hear
right.
anything specific about the area you're from?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah, I remember little things here and there, but yeah, like you said, her I remember stories of her, her and her sister and my tia and my grandma, like they were in Mexico, like on their way to America type shit, on their journey over here, and that she was excited that they got new dresses and like on a pit stop, you know what I mean?
Damn,
Um,
that's dope.
but um, but yeah, it's like a yeah, it's like a stolen childhood that she had, that I never really thought about it, but she didn't get to know she didn't get to have a neighborhood that she grew up on, that she was born in, a neighborhood that you know, regular childhood experience, right? That
Mm.
you would hope that any kid around the world, I guess, would have, but yeah, and it's sad because we see that amplified 1,000 times in Palestine right now, right? Where another brown face that is can't find a safe, roof above their head, and it's just that's another thing that really irks me, and yeah, just certain atrocities that irk me like that, and the fact that there's people of color and being held in detention camps right now, and prisons, and that there's somehow able to profit from that. That's yeah, some things that really that bother me, and I don't know how they justify that, and I don't know how they set up a system where that works. But yeah, it's unacceptable that, kids go missing, and it's um it's a really dark and twisted world that we live in right now. And
You
yeah, it's
say
just a lot yeah, it's a lot of
s-
shit.
7 years old. What year was this when your mom arrived in America?
Um, it's a good question. Let me see,
Or
like
do you even know the
81.
answer to that question?
He's 81
Oh, 80s?
or 84. Yeah, she was 7, yeah.
And she landed in, you said Lennox? Or where did she land in? Or where she
Yeah.
land at?
Yeah, she grew up in Lenox.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
then that was probably an interesting time. What about your pops? Say Guadalajara, Mexico. Never been there. Anything about Guadalajara, Mexico that you've heard? Like, is it a small town? Are you from the main city? How much do you know about your background in terms of your father's side of the roots?
Man, that's a great question too. Or yeah, I feel like I need to reach out to my elders and just get those stories, you know what I mean? Um,
Well, I mean,
yeah, but
if you haven't had the time or the luxury to ask your peoples that question, what about some questions that you have in mind that you could share with us right now that you would want to ask your tios, your tias, your pops, you know how it goes.
I feel you. Yeah, I think yeah, I would just want to know like what growing up is like, or like what a normal day as a kid would look like,
Mm,
and the shit they would do to like pass the time, I think that I trip out on the little things like that. Like what was maybe the best advice that they got.
mm,
And now I'm like old enough to even want to ask these questions and even formulate questions because you feel like you as a youngster you kind of have like ego and or even shyness to even want to ask questions. But yeah, I would be really curious to know like yeah, what kind of dreams they had, and what kind of action figures and shit they'd play with, what movie was cool or you know.
I
But
mean, I guess this could also apply to your moms, right? Obviously, you still have family, I'm guessing, at both of these spots that you could reach out to and be like, "Hey, I got some questions," kind of like interview them and shit. Or is that something that's not? Is
yeah,
that difficult for
I'm
you?
blessed. Yeah, I'm blessed to have I do have a network, man. And that's something that I'm definitely guilty of not, tapping into my network enough. You know what I mean? And building with the people next to me and even familiarity, honestly, even with familial people, you know what I mean? With my own family, like
Familia. Did you say it in Spanish? For fucking hell, man.
yeah, I'm saying extra fucking collegiate word and shit.
Big words.
Familials. I know. I don't even know how to say and shit, but you put down the tequila right
That's right. Yeah, these are interesting questions that I have that I used to have as a kid. Luckily for me, my parents have always been open about how they grew up. They're kind of like historians and they would share that knowledge with us, with my brother and myself. And so I had the luxury to know a lot about my family before I actually stepped foot in Mexico. But
Wow.
one of the reasons why I do this podcast is because I know that other people may not have that luxury that I did, that privilege that I did. Some people might not be blessed with the ability to track their lineage past their parents.
Oh yeah.
So I just ask these questions just because family, friends, and followers of Chris E.R might have some similar questions, especially like other family in the future. And like if you have kids or whatever, your random ass little cousin fool that just just fucking was just born, is gonna watch this in the future. It's like, oh, he's my tío, like I want, or he's my cousin. I want to know a little bit more about my family. So that's one of the
Yeah,
reasons why I asked these kinds of questions, and why I like to dedicate the first part of the interview to the family, the identity, and the roots. And
yeah.
speaking of identity, I know it's Salvadorian and Mexican, but what do you identify as?
Real quick, a story came to mind of my godfather and my
Go ahead.
godmother of yeah, I definitely, I'm blessed to have them. They're like the patriarch and matriarch of my family, the ones that worked at LAX for decades. And my godmother still works there. And but yeah, they met in like I think he went to go talk to her in the ahí in el centro, right around like the pond, right? And or probably yeah, it's actually probably around like the yeah, around the little just like how they have in Olvera Street, right? Where I guess they have that in like a lot of the Mexican cities or Mexican towns, or hopefully I'm best to go check it out one day. Just where everybody congregates. And yeah, you went to go talk to her. And yeah, I think just their relationship, being married for decades, being together for decades, having property in Lennox, is definitely something I aspire to, and something I definitely, value. And yeah, so that's definitely, part of my, a keystone in my family. So, and my aunt and my uncle, they met in high school, still together too. And have have four daughters, and two of my cousins just bought property. So, I'm just really proud of them, and aspire to be like my younger cousins and shit. Um, but yeah, well, but you said
Before we talk about the identity,
yeah, identity, yeah.
uh, you brought up how your godfather and your godmother met. What about your parents? How did they meet? You know that story?
Hmm. Yeah, they I think they met through my uncle and my aunt, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they met in high school. My I was definitely born to teenage parents. And and yeah, it was just like, puppy love, and
Young love, huh?
yeah, puppy
Yeah.
love. And unfortunately they broke up before I was even born, on some, tragic love shit. Um so yeah, and I didn't meet my pops until I was 15.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's that's
We could talk about that in when we're covering your K through 12 years. As I mean, if you're open to talk about it, if not, we could kind of
yeah,
skim through it. You feel
yeah,
me?
it is, it's just part of the story. But I think something that's dope is that when I do remember when I was 15, I went to go meet him for the first, or stay with him for the first time. Um, that's when I first had my first rhyme book. I mean, I had it in the plane. I went to go visit him in Vegas, and I had it with me when I was in his, probably the biggest house that I got to stay in at the time. They got really dope properties out of Vegas. And he obviously, worked hard, and he was a chef out there, and amongst other things too. So but I definitely associate, meeting with him, and staying out there with like my first raps, you know what I mean? And so yeah, it's all it's all like a movie sometimes, you know what I mean? But and of course 8 Mile was on, and I was at his crib. But yeah, it's
So your parents met in high school when they were both students at Lenox High, or what high school they go to?
yeah, I think Lennox doesn't have a high school
I mean,
now.
I don't know. I'm not from over there, so I
No,
wouldn't know.
yeah, I feel you. And they don't have a I don't have a high school. It goes up to middle school. Um But where the fuck they were at? They probably were at I want to say Hawthorne High. I want to say Inglewood High.
One of those,
Yeah, the one probably down the street from the middle school. But
probably.
but yeah, it's definitely that's something I need to get the history right about. I'm definitely super proud of being from this area and you know the I guess the yeah, the legends that come from this area just are just keep mounting and shit and I'm just inspired by all the movements that are happening, but I find it a lot of inspiration by what's happening with Coyote, Coyote for Hire, right? Ironic name because my mom needed a coyote, right? But coyote, right? But yeah, they're from the area. They're shouting out Lennox in their bars, you know what I mean? So that was cool. And I think Sucker Free, he's coming up, and yeah, so and even Tyler the Creator, he's over here bopping next to you know, the freeway signs that I walk by, and so it's really dope. Like, um,
We're proud to be from Lennox.
hell yeah,
Lennox roots.
hell yeah, man. Humble beginnings, and yeah, it's dope. Like, it is really inspiring, just like as a city for me too. It's like the first place where I saw like my idea of like a brown utopia, right? Where you know they I'm like on the outsider looking in, right? So I get to come and visit my uncles and my aunts and my cousins and shit. So I didn't live there, but I had to come and visit. But yeah, just seeing the community there come out for like the parades and shit, and um that was dope. But yeah, I was kind of like a just like a quick segue, I guess. My mom, she had me as a teenager, and a lot of in the 90s, LA was a totally different place, right? It was probably like comparable to, unfortunately what Chicago is now, a lot of, maybe not, it's not comparable, right? But just a lot of gun violence, right? And so yeah, she wanted to, I guess, get me away from that. So she kind of pulled the audible and I guess put us in a little apartment far away in LA, but we'd still come and visit, I guess. Um but um but yeah, luckily the area, my family was safe and we were never, had the violence at our doorstep. But I know, prior to 94, I feel like it was the Wild West for real out here in Los Angeles. Um so yeah, I guess my mom was very protective of me and single mother. So yeah, she, pushed me to go to college every day and, have, she played the role of pops and mom, and she had some legendary coaching conversations, you know what I mean?
We're gonna get into your K through 12 experience, but before we do that, I asked you about your identity. So what do you identify as? Salvadorian, Mexican, both, just Latino or Hispanic, Chicano?
Yeah, I think definitely all that, man. Yeah, Salvadorian, Salvadoreño, Mexicano, Americano, I'm proud to be American too. For my idea of what it means, you know what I mean? I think it's a very um, just you know, um yeah, Chicano for sure, artist, revolutionary, you know, that's pretty much it.
It's like one of those Every time I ask that question, I feel like I'm asking people to remember, like on the I brought this up before in a different episode, but remember when we used to be in school and we used to take the test and shit, or anything we fill out in the application, we have to check
Yeah,
the boxes,
the census
right?
and shit.
The census and all that shit. Like I talk about test food because that's the first thing I remember of. But I mean, we do it all the time when we do any application. We have to check
Yeah.
box our identity, like our fucking race and our ethnicity and all that. What do you
Yeah,
check off?
that's an amazing question, bro. I appreciate you.
Expose the shit? I'm out here fucking exposing you.
Exactly. No, I appreciate you exposing the system, bro, because they don't allow you to. Yeah, their selection is very like, I
I
guess
mean, it's
it's
longer now before, but when we were younger,
yeah.
it used to be way shorter.
Yeah, it pushes like a agenda, I guess. Well, I guess it was just not that it pushes an agenda, but I just always found it interesting that you had to, as a Latino, you could only yeah, you had to register as white, right? There was that option, like
Back in
and,
the day, yeah. I don't know
yeah,
what people do nowadays. It's weird because now we have to fill out two boxes instead of one.
yeah. At some point,
Because even the white folks, like they have to check out white, non-Hispanic. I think
mm,
that's their category, right? And then we have to fill out the ethnicity box, which is I think it only gives you like a certain amount of Latino. I think it only gives you like the top four, which is like Mexican American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, and then like either Salvadoran or Guatemalan. I don't know. I haven't really seen too many where they offer so many options, right? And that's something that I remember as a kid, it was weird, because they would be like, "Yo, you have to check off white," but deep
right,
inside,
exactly.
you knew that you weren't white, right? Like, so you knew
Yeah,
that that wasn't you.
guess whenever that was an option, I would just put other. But
True.
I definitely put Latino a lot of times whenever that's an option. Maybe Mexican American when that's an option. Um, but yeah, they don't really give you the option to
Just write
I
it in.
guess yeah, exactly. Just explain yourself, right?
Just
Like
write it in, dog.
yeah.
You feel me? Just like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
this, and that, dog. All right.
But yeah, I think there might be there's gonna be a movement soon where people just start putting or people that look like you and me are gonna start putting indigenous or native, and that's gonna fuck the whole system up. But I think yeah, I feel like there's a yeah, like a political consciousness, kind of bubbling up. Maybe not overtly like in the 60s. But it's kind of bleeding in through the music and people that I'm a fan of, like Native Threat and Jaguar Ariola and SK Winter Yet and just people that I'm a fan of that are just Immortal Technique, right? Like people that just keep consciousness in their bars and shit. Um, yeah, my bad. I'm
Nah, you're
really
good for don't even trip. This is what we this is why I do this. So let's get into your K through 12 experience, starting off with K in elementary school. Did you eat or even pre-K? What was your life like during these childhood, your primitive years, your your childhood, like, right? Because I mean, what is that, 0 through 10? That's like the core childhood, and then you get into your teen. So what was your life like pre-K or K through fifth grade? And starting off with how were you as a student?
yeah, but yeah, school was always my like happy place, low key. Um, yeah, it's just I think I was lucky to kind of always be gifted in a way, where feel school kind of came easy to me. And and yeah, it was just a cool place where I got to, really especially as a youngster, I got to like just run around, have fun and just be like super carefree and it felt like a big sleepover or something, you know what I mean? Um definitely as a young kid. But I think that's something that I was afforded because like I said, my mom, she kind of she went from kind of one war zone in El Salvador to downtown LA, or not downtown, 310, um, Lenox area, you know what I mean? At that time, it was justifiably another war zone, Um, when she was in her teenage years, she was homies with, you
With
know,
who's?
with the hooligans,
Yeah, with the
and
food, with the barrio.
and um and yeah, definitely like she had stories of, like um yeah, just tragedies around that area. So she just firsthand with friends, and you know so she just wanted to get me away as far away as possible from all the violence and whatnot. Um, so she did the best that she could to afford me like the best education that she could. Um, as a single mother, working like three jobs at one time, and working at Big Five, and working as an usher, um at concerts and things. But yeah, to afford me like a private education, and um doing the research like the best that she could. And so yeah, I was in private education until, I guess, until middle school. Um
What was the name of the elementary school? The private elementary?
oh for a while I went to, funny enough, it was a Scientology elementary, actually. It was called Scientology school. It was called well, funny enough, it was called Mary Schoolhouse. Just to keep it real. You know what I mean? It's documented. Um,
What is it? Mary's Schoolhouse?
yeah, Mary Schoolhouse. It was right
Okay.
across the street from the what is it, the Scientology Big Blue building that you might see in some documentaries and shit.
You talking about the one in Hollywood?
Yeah, yeah.
I know
That was one
exactly
of the
where
schools
that's
I
at.
went to. That was one of the schools I went to. Before that, I went into another school where I learned from one of my favorite teachers, Steve. He taught me how to read. That's one of my fondest memories, is learning how to read. You know what I mean? Like having this older, white gentleman with glasses, just, the homie just teaching me how to read. Um, and then we used to drink like milk with ice in it and shit.
The fuck?
Little, yeah,
Milk with ice?
yeah, it was like somehow they put the milk in like the freezer or something. But it is like one of the best things ever, bro. Like you gotta try it. But yeah,
Sounds nasty,
definitely.
though. Milk slushy? Shit. Hell no.
Low key is fire, bro. Little crystals, little ice crystals. You gotta try
No.
it. I don't know how the hell they did that.
I mean, I'll take a raspado de vainilla, fool. That's about it, fool.
And so my mom paid you know, that private school money for, bro. It was a tiny little school though, bro. It was like somebody's house. You know what I mean?
One of those.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it wasn't like a crazy, crazy school, but
Well, you could even say that you were homeschooled at that point.
exactly, bro.
At that point, you could,
Neta.
but I was homeschooled and shit.
Neta.
Wasn't my home, but it was somebody's home.
That's hilarious.
That's
That's
cool though.
hilarious.
That's cool. Private education, good student. I'm guessing you said school came easy to you, gifted, right? They probably put you through all those tests, all those reading tests, all those fucking extra fucking tests that they make you take. Once they realize that you read at a certain level and then you comprehend at a certain level, right?
Yeah, they made me take that in high school. I think I tested gifted as a kid, and then I tested out of it in high school. On some bullshit.
You're like, fuck this shit. Uh, but as a kid, like, what do they tell you, oh, I mean, I don't know what kind of tests they made you, they put you through, but I remember because I was in the gifted program too, And remember how it was like, I mean, well, you were in a private school, but it was a track system, so they used to track us, right? And so they used to make us do these tests to see who could read the fastest. Like they used to time you, like how many words can you read per minute?
Hmm.
Or and then they would make you do like these book summary tests, or where they would ask you questions about the book for comprehension skills and reading skills and all these extra tests that that certain students have to go through, right, before they're actually like labeled gifted or whatever that means. I never really got answers as to what that really means. I just know that I was a kid. That's what they all used to tell my mom, like, "Oh, he's gifted this, gifted that, and all that." What kind of tests would they put you through? Was it academic tests or speak on that?
Yeah, when I say gifted, I wasn't specifically talking about the program. Now that I'm a educator and know a little more about the ins and outs about the specific gifted, which actually, not to segue too much, I know I'm like king of segues on these things, but yeah, gifted is actually like it's yeah, it's like
Are you about to expose my childhood right now, fool? Are you about to give me some game of my childhood?
I guess a little bit
Go
but
ahead.
it's
Dog, let me hear this shit, dog.
but yeah, it's I think it's interesting that yeah, we think of gifted students as they are advanced students, but it is also um it's also comparable or comparable to like a student who has difficulty learning, right? Where they might need assistance in um like just maybe seeing something. They might need like visual aids. They might need a counter of telling them, okay, you did your job 3 times today, you're gonna get a break. You know what I mean? It goes from one area of they need extreme help to get the subject, and then gifted is the side where it's like they they understand it, they understand the concepts, but they also need it's also like they also need the assistance and other things too, right? They also need that same intensive help, but to improve, right? And to go to the next level. Um, but yeah, they also need like, that support, and it's yeah, I guess we don't want to we never like label students or anything, right? But I feel like we like to separate students. I think more than anything, we like to separate students like, oh, this student is gifted and this student is, has an IEP, and they're below grade level. But really, every student is, brilliant in their own way. And they all just need support one way or another, right? And like, yeah, so I just think, yeah, we I guess they kind of glorify gifted, but it's also um, just showing that their brain also works in a different way. Um, but yeah, I think just how a student who has a IEP, they might be at risk of not following the protocol. A student who's gifted is, I think they're just might be at a risk of, they could be at risk of failing as well. You know what I mean? Because they might outsmart the whole thing. My
And it doesn't become challenging.
you're right, they're bored,
Yep.
right? Then they get start talking. That's the kid
Me?
that's exactly. I was like that too. Every kid they put me next to, I'm talking, right?
For
Getting at the
real, no.
home, give me a week, I'm gonna get to know them. We're gonna start talking. They have to move me again.
Well, I swear, like it would be all fours and shit, all threes and fours, and then like a random two and what's this like respect or what? I don't even know what the fuck they used to grade you, but like
Right.
like when they in the parent conferences, but like, oh, so hijo habla de más or habla mucho, like your kid talks too much or something. Not like in an interruption mean way, but it's just like sometimes I used to just want to talk, fool. Like I wanted to laugh and shit. You get what I'm
That's,
saying?
that's dope. I'm kind of envious of that too, where yeah, I didn't have a like a Latino teacher, I feel like until probably middle school, I want to say.
Mm.
Even then, I don't think I saw a teacher that looked like me for a long time. So yeah, even
Well, some of my teachers
yeah.
weren't even Latino. They just knew how to speak Spanish,
Even that, you know.
which is if somebody's watching this shit, that's a key right there. Learn two languages, baby. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, right? Elementary school, private school. Who is Chris during this time? Like, what kind of music are you listening to?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this too, where yeah, I was like a little rocker, I was like kid, I guess in like the elementary years. Um, where my yeah, we had like the older brother of one of our homies. There was like my two redhead twin homegirls. Their older brother. They he put us on like our whole crew onto like I guess skateboarding into um like rock and shit, and he gave me my first CDs of Linkin Park and Red Hot Chili Peppers and fucking Rage Against the Machine and shit. And and yeah, man, I grew up loving my first CD that I bought was fucking Green Day American Idiot. So I was like yeah, I know I gravitated towards that shit and the Sublime when I got into high school a little bit more, but yeah, definitely and I definitely had fond memories of listening to the fucking music in the Discman, the Walkman, listening to the fucking CD spin and shit. Um, but yeah, shit. And I used to love listening to ODB on the fucking radio, bro. Fucking Eminem, Snoop Dogg on the Bitch Please Part Two. Whenever that shit would fucking come on the radio, it was a good day. I'd be really rolling around in the back seat to that shit.
What
But
year
yeah,
was this? What years were you in elementary school? First of all, let's cover that real quick.
and 2000s, bro. Glorious era,
2000.
bro.
Yeah.
Glorious. Fucking the Lakers just three peats upon three peats and shit, and Shaq saying, "Can
The
you dig it? Can you dig it?" Just
the city's up and
he is
running,
on
dog.
fire. Dog, I remember fucking rolling around in the fucking parade at night, and of course I had fucking young mom, and we're her boyfriend at the time, amazing, huge, biggest Laker fan ever. So we're rolling around at night in the car, packed the fucking Corolla, fucking
Just to
eight
go to the
eight deep,
celebration.
eight deep in the five seater.
Uh,
You know what I mean? And
the
rolling around at
classic.
night with the fucking parade going on, dog, and just crazy shit. You know what I mean? With the city on fire, and literally on fire because we can't enjoy a parade without flipping a
Uh,
bus over.
like
And
I said, that's some shit that's always been. It's always in the news, dog. Metro bus catches fire, and it's just like a bunch of fools tagging it up, doing this madre, getting rowdy and shit, and then that's it. Every time somebody wins, whether it's the Dodgers, the Lakers, it might be those two. Though I think it's only the Dodgers and the Lakers. I'm trying to think. I don't think LAFC has won anything yet. Galaxy's a little too far. The Kings, when they won in the, I don't even remember that, but yeah, early 2000s, LA was cracking because of the Lakers three-peat. Little kid, listen, rock music. What other shit were you into? Any hobbies, any interests? Were you into like anime or wrestling or shit like that?
dog, definitely as a kid, I was into we got mad into fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. I was
Mm.
mad into Yu-Gi-Oh. Definitely was still whoop somebody's ass with my deck right now. You know what I mean?
WB Kids and shit. Channel 5 after school.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
got a little
days.
bit into magic and shit too.
Okay. Oh, what the fuck? For real? As a
Magic.
little kid?
Yeah, just because the older homies, because it was like a really small school. I told you, fucking hilariously Mary Schoolhouse. Um, the older kids went to Shuttleworth Academy. It was very legitimate. It was a tiny little house. Shout out to them. They're probably still going strong.
I thought you went to school in a treehouse or what the fuck, dog? Like
I'm telling you, I grew up. The schools I went to were like one building, one little
a bungalow?
exactly that. But yeah, that's
Magic though.
all I knew, bro. But
You say you get into magic?
oh yeah, just because it was a small ass school, it was like 60 kids, but it went through fucking it was like K through 12, but in one fucking little building, bro. So it's like
Oh hell no,
we all got
no.
to like kind of got to soak up game from the older homies, you know what I mean? And it was definitely predominantly, Caucasian there. Couple had a Indian homie, one Latino homie.
It was diverse.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool, we got to walk over to LACC in summer and take swim lessons. Classic.
Yeah, it's not even that far now that I remember. I remember that area. I know that area.
hmm
Yeah. So private school, listen to rock, Yu-Gi-Oh, any
ODB in
extra
the radio.
ODB in the radio, any extracurricular activities? Like are you into sports?
Oh yeah, I was definitely playing basketball at that time up at Bellevue Park.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
memories at that park.
you know what I mean?
That's the one on the hill, right? Like it's the top of a hill
Hell
type
yeah,
shit.
hell yeah, yeah. Might
Stoner
need to,
shit.
might need to shoot some content up there and shit. Classic, man. But yeah, I definitely had some yeah, just a lot of fun memories, playing sports up there and playing indoor soccer even and um yeah, just a lot of fun playing ball in chucks and shit and yeah, man. I remember yeah, one time I walked all the way up the hill and played a game after that too.
Fuck
Uh
that hill, dog. You talking about going up from Sunset up?
yeah.
Oh, that hill was ridiculous, fool.
I
I know exactly what hill you're talking about, dog. That shit is painful.
don't know. Yeah, and I wish there was another route. It definitely didn't win that game. Definitely wasn't my best performance that game.
Yeah, you got to do a whole ass leg day by the time you're up there, fool. Your legs are shot. You know what I'm saying? Imagine as a kid, fuck that shit, dog. Oh, mom is maybe it's because I was a bigger kid, but anyways, continue though. Elementary school years. Whew.
Yeah, so I definitely love playing sports and yeah, that's pretty much it, bro. Just playing fucking basketball and yeah, in those elementary years. And yeah, in middle school I guess I got a little more into rock actually. A little more into rock. Because my homie Ray, who I make a lot of hip hop with now, yeah, we were into like deep, deep fucking cuts with My Chemical Romance and shit, and kind of, definitely when it wasn't cool, and you know what I mean. But yeah, it's just and then I ended up going to like Warp Tours and shit, and but yeah, I definitely love that. That's like amazing study music, like fucking like a fucking death metal and metal and
Teenager, what is it?
primo
Teenage
and shit.
angst, whatever that
Exactly, yeah. Remember
teenagers
doing
mad at the world type music.
doing a lot of homework to that and
What the fuck?
yeah, like
Teresa Zero,
after school we go up to my homie's crib and he played the DVDs, play the music and I just remember doing homework and shit and
just rocking out.
just rocking out, bro. And then eventually those would be the first concerts I'd go to. The first concert I really went to was like, actually, my mom took me to a Coldplay concert,
In
which
middle
like,
school?
yeah, I think
Coldplay.
so. I was a youngster.
Ooh.
They're definitely blowing trees right at like 2 rows in front of us. But but yeah, it's definitely um yeah, I got more into rock too. It's funny.
What middle
Um,
school did you go to?
middle school I was up in Glendale, which is my mom did her research and tried to find like the best, if she couldn't afford
Well, shout
public
out to your
school
mom.
or
First of all, let me just shout out to your mom, dog. All right.
oh yeah,
Shout
man.
out to your mom. Let's get that shit on record. I'll shout out to your
Yeah.
mom, but continue.
I appreciate that,
Mm.
bro. Definitely gonna clip that and send that to No, she's a warrior and things that she definitely bends reality with her like positivity and stuff.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and her foresight. But
Glendale,
yeah,
though. Ooh.
she just she researched like the best, I guess, free, public school, and Glendale was one of them. So she moved us over here and or over there and yeah, and
What was it called?
oh, the school was called Toll Middle School.
Whole middle school.
Yeah.
Where's this at? Remember the streets or the
Not
area? Because I don't really know
the
Glendale
street.
like that. I just know the Glendale Galleria. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know.
I feel you, yeah. Yeah, it's probably like 5 miles from there, you know what I mean? It's not that far from there. Right off of Pacific and shit. Yeah. But yeah, definitely fond memories going there.
Were you still into Yu-Gi-Oh in middle school, or did your hobbies and interests change?
Um, yeah, I feel like middle school is kind of a blur. Definitely went by too fast. I definitely had a lot of fun. Yeah, I was listening to a lot of rock, going to a lot of rock concerts with the homies. Um, yeah, I feel like yeah, I wasn't writing yet. I feel like I was probably dipping my toes into like maybe a little like funny content creation, not nothing serious though, but just like regular kid shit, you know what I mean? Where everybody was just doing YouTube for the fuck of it, you know what I mean? Just a
I
funny
think we've
video.
all been there, dog.
Yeah, I mean, just experimenting with that shit. Like a lot of my students do now, or you know what I mean, where they're just doing it for the fun of it. And, um, actually, yeah, you know what I mean? Some of them, some of them are little content creators and stuff. But but yeah, just having a little fun with that and just being a kid, bro. I was just having a lot of fun. Like yeah, just
Yeah,
being a
middle school does
kid.
go too fast. It's 3 years compared to elementary, which is like full 5 years, 5, 6 years, right? And by the time you're in high school, it's still 4 years, but it's high school, right? And this is like a weird time. You're becoming a teenager. You're
Yeah.
starting to go through puberty, right? I'm guessing.
I feel like it was a lot of social games. I didn't a lot of the homies were getting into like rumbles, they call them, and it was a lot of racial tension in my middle
Mm.
school with the Armenian community and the Mexican Latino community. And I guess I was definitely out of the loop where I did not know where the rumble was going down. You know what I mean? If you wanted to know that you weren't, you know what I mean? I
You
was
had to
kicking
be in
it
the
with
you
my
had to be in the circle and the know to
right,
know where shit was about to pop off.
right. It was not what I was trying to do. I was kicking it with my, ironically, I was kicking it with like my Filipino homies. If you saw me in middle school, you probably would have thought I'd be Filipino because I was just kicking it with my Filipino.
Shout out
Um,
to what are the Pinoys? That's what they call
exactly,
themselves.
bro.
The
Hell yeah.
Pinoys, yeah.
Definitely had a lot of love for them, bro. It was a lot of good times with my homies. And yeah, just being a kid, bro. I definitely remember my homie Anthony Cordova, one of the illest, cleanest dancers to ever fucking touch it, bro. To ever fucking move, bro. Like, but he'd as a kid, I remember school dances and shit. You know what I mean? Listening to ballin' in the fucking
Yeah.
school. school gym and shit.
Fucking Jabberwockies is like the number one thing going on and shit.
Exactly. ABDC, all that shit.
Yep, yep, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
I remember
dog.
but yeah, it was definitely like a social mindfuck, right? Just like a social like stepping into the matrix and whatnot. And but yeah, I remember I would trip out on my homie. He was just being able to I guess kind of like control that social moment with, his confidence and his swag and his moves and very hip hop and he could cite, 20 fucking Tupac verses verbatim. I mean, I fucking love that guy. I grew up with him too in middle school.
Did your middle school have shoe crews? Like fools that used to get like Nikes and paint them?
Hmm.
Because I went to school out there at Silver Lake at Thomas Stark King Middle School. So
Down the street.
there's kind of like a overlap of cultures. It's different, way different over there, right? But
Right.
these fools used to have shoe crews and shit. Like a lot of the fools that used to be dancing too. Like a lot of
Hmm.
the Filipino fools and shit, they used to have these shoe crews.
That's
And they
fine.
used to get these blank Nikes though, and then they used to paint them themselves and customize them themselves. That shit ever happen over there?
Nah, I never saw that. I was never that. Never saw nothing that creative, to be honest.
Did
Maybe
you
maybe an airbrush tee or something.
did you get to well, did you have the privilege of independence in middle school where your mom allowed you to go to different places
I definitely did.
alone?
I definitely did, and I definitely got complimented that from from the homegirl that I was one of the few dudes that would match my clothes and shit. You know what I mean? Definitely, definitely got taught the game from my mom. To match at least two colors you're wearing. You know what I mean? Um,
Just fresh, geared
yeah, I
up.
mean, yeah, I mean, just little accents. Um, what was the question though? My bad.
Did you get to do a lot of alone shit
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
after school? Or would your mom pick you up and
yeah,
strict on it type shit?
yeah, for sure.
Or a school bus? Did you take the school bus or how was that?
Yeah, I definitely took the school bus and definitely was clowning with the homies in the school bus. It wasn't the school bus, it was the Beeline, the Glendale fucking bus and shit, and was definitely clowning with the homies Marcus and Boris and shit, and yeah, kicking with them in the mornings and shit, and
It's funny. I had a homie in middle school named Boris too. That's funny.
yeah, and I think the homie Marcus actually went on to like he play in Cal State football and shit. It's pretty dope. Um, but yeah, I got to go on the bus in the mornings. Um, I probably should have just went at night because I would have basketball practice. So I'd be playing with the school team in middle school, and but then my mom would forget to pick me up and shit, or she wouldn't pick me up the same time other parents would get picked up or kids would get picked up. So it would definitely be 7 p.m. and I'm like
Trying to find a way home and shit.
before the days of phones and shit, I couldn't even see what the fuck is going on.
Exactly, dog.
Can I put a bat signal or something? Like,
Huh, like, do I even have money for the bus and shit? Like, ain't no tap cards. Back in the day, you actually had to put money in the fucking. I mean, you still do now, but it's so easier to just tap, right?
yeah,
Like,
me and my mom, we were definitely th bus thugs, definitely thugging it on the bus for a long time.
hey, let me get a G ride real quick or some shit, huh? Courtesy ride.
On God, on God. And I would always be lucky and find the one that would be like, can't this time.
Damn. Not
I'll
today,
get I'll
big
get
dog.
blessed. I'll get blessed, right?
Not
Not today.
today, big dog.
Uh,
Just leave you in the bus stop, bitch. That's fucked up, dog. Uh, or the type of food to try to sneak in through the back when it's
no,
packed.
what's even worse is the bus driver that don't even stop for you.
Oh, those are the worst, fool.
Dog, why am I
Especially at night when you're trying to go home. In the morning is like whatever, right? Fuck it.
bro,
It's okay to be late when you're trying to go home at night.
dog, I was staying at a family's house just last night and tell me why I'm like I hear somebody like a blood curdling scream. I'm like, he's like, stop. I'm like, dog, what's going on? I don't like being my teacher, like nosy, but I'm like looking out the window, like, what's going on, bro?
When you're trying to catch the bus.
Trying to catch the bus with this girl, dog. Like at
Dang.
2 a.m. That's the last one too,
The
right?
last one, huh? For like 2 hours and shit. That's
Like,
sad,
you're really
dog.
gonna leave him?
That's crazy.
He was so salty.
That's a different kind of pain
Dude.
right there for when the bus just passes you by and you just like stare at it, go fucking.
Or and they'll have the audacity to turn their head too.
Oh, they look at you and shit. They just keep going. Like, fool, just pull over there, dog. I'll walk over there, my boy. But no, these fools, they don't give a fuck and they just keep going and shit.
Yeah,
So,
they get paid way too much to not be stopping for us.
so because you took the Glendale bus, did you get to explore Glendale? Like, did you go to the Glendale Galleria with your peoples a lot? Or how was your after? What did your after
Uh,
school look like besides sports? Like when you had free time?
yeah, I'll be kicking it with my homies, fucking Marvin and Ray and Eric and and yeah, we definitely probably be gaming. Definitely my homie Marvin, who's a successful fucking, studio owner now. We were definitely into Call of Duty
Mm.
and just kid shit, bro, playing basketball. Let him tell it. He'll tell you that he, ended my career with a pump fake to the right, bank shot, you know what I mean? And
And called game, and that's it. It's all
I
right.
mean landing on my right knee and popping it
Ooh.
and shit in the street, you know what I mean? And cement
Oh, you hurt yourself playing basketball in the street?
and
Oh, that's a wrap, dog.
bro, and I love playing basketball too, bro. But and I'm still gonna start playing on Mondays and shit too. I'm still nasty, bro, but my knee still pops on me.
That's
But
a wrap, dog. That's a wrap, big dog.
yeah, exactly. But I still love it. Just for the love of it. Just for the love.
Yeah. Middle school, middle school is an interesting time. Okay, so now you go to high school, right? Let's get into high school. Where'd you go to high school?
In high school, um, a lot of my homies went right across the street to Hoover High School, which yeah, I think Eva Mendes went to Glendale High School. So there's a not that she went there, um but yeah, it's a lot of the homies went to Hoover High School and but my mom, wanting to push me, I guess, in education, she pushed me to go to the magnet school in the Glendale system, which was Clark Magnet High School up in Locker Center. And yeah, that's definitely yeah, where I started getting into to writing raps and recording.
Besides the music stuff, which we'll cover at the end of the interview, what kind of student were you in high school?
Man, I was definitely I feel like now that you're making me meditate on it, I feel like that's definitely when I kind of let off the gas in a bad way, where I kind of
Or coasted?
yeah, I feel like that's when I started coasting and and not applying myself as much as I could have. Um, but I still ended up with a 3.0, I guess, and 3.3 or something. I don't know. But um, but I had to go to summer school and shit, and I think yeah, I remember I had a intense morning one day where I knew I was gonna fail this one class because wasn't turning in a paper and shit, and I'm like ripping the clothesline in the back of my house because I'm pissed, like walking to the bus stop, like
The tendedero and shit, just ripping it off. That's fucking, that's raging shit. That's funny.
just rage quitting and shit, knowing like fuck, I'm gonna have to go to summer school, you know what I mean? Or not even thinking that far, just knowing like fuck, I'm gonna fail. Um, but yeah, I remember in high school, I definitely shout out to the Davises. There was a married couple that taught a class together, dog, like a movie. They taught it English and history. Um,
What kind of schools did you go to? That shit sounds crazy, fool.
yeah, it was a trip.
Two
Um,
teachers?
yeah, they married and they taught in the same room. I'm sure they still do.
That's
And
love right there. That's hey,
now I have
shout out to love. Shout out to real love, you
the
know? From what it sounds like, I don't know, the reality, but it sounds
man.
like true love.
No, they're definitely a class act, bro. They're probably the very classy people. Um, yeah, and they definitely left a mark on me. Um, but yeah, I remember having like a fun speech moment in that class where it's like it's a double class because they combine their class and stuff, and just having fun with like, with the World War II and the Germans and everything, and just controlling the crowd there, whatever, and making people laugh, but also like, being, sharing knowledge or whatever and shit. And that's the type of shit that was, a lot of fun for me. And and yeah, and we definitely made a song in high school dissing our high school. And it definitely led to the cops being called on us, and all of us being pulled out of our classes with police escorts, um, interrogated in the um, principal's office and shit. Um,
How bad was it this? What the fuck they gotta call the juras and shit? Are you threatening teachers or what the fuck?
right? Yeah, apparently it was because yeah, I started off with or I guess at the beginning of a rap song, you might say like, we about to set this motherfucker on fire. We about to raise the roof. We about to,
A metaphor, no?
yes, exactly. So I might have said we about to blow this bitch up, and they might have thought
And they
of it.
took it literal.
They might have thought of it as a bomb threat.
Ah. Oh, so it
That,
was your fault.
unfortunately, unfortunately.
What a fucking lesson learned right there, dog. That's crazy. Imagine getting followed. That's just stupid, dog.
Yeah, I think they took all the homies out. For some reason, they took the most ethnically
The minorities?
they took the darkest one of us all in handcuffs.
Damn.
I don't know why they took my homie Eric out in handcuffs. I don't know why they did it like that.
So they put
Um,
you fools in the cuffs and everything?
they didn't put me in cuffs.
Oh, they just put this one fool in the cuffs.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't like him. He just
That's
looked weird.
fucking, that's traumatizing. That straight up sounds like it was a traumatic
He
experience.
was the one that would kind of look like, because we all had to wear collars and khakis.
No, so you had a uniform.
Yeah, but I feel like he made it look a little more like
He made it fresh.
like classic East LA type shit.
Ah, he made it fresh. He looked like a,
He has that East LA flavor to him, so
okay,
you
that
probably
makes
saw a
sense.
little danger on him. But
What else came in there with stereotypical fucking eyes and shit?
no, but they definitely they took all the homies into the principal's office, and even the homie that was just dancing in it, homie was just pop locking in it,
Fuck it, the whole group.
interrogated his ass, and the whole
The whole group, dog.
Dude,
That's just
apparently they,
crazy.
they brought me in last because I was just popping off the worst, I guess. Um, but yeah, I was calling out, I guess some shit that I didn't like, and I guess some teachers that I didn't agree with their practices, and
Oh, so you name drop.
oh yeah,
Oh
oh
yeah.
you name drop for sure, and we're definitely expelled for not expelled, we're suspended for like 5 days. So
How old were you when this happened? What grade were you in?
yeah, it was probably must have been high school. I mean, obviously high school. I must have been that'd be a sophomore,
Okay.
10th grade. Yeah.
So if you're already rapping, I'm guessing you're already getting into hip hop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of my the early recordings too. But yeah, I was definitely inspired by my homie Marvin and my homie Nico. They were doing they started off with the Millie remix and and yeah, my homie he bought a Samson mic, a Samson USB mic, and my homie Marvin he's always been just a hungry creative dude, and I went to middle school with him too. And yeah, he learned how to record himself. Early days we're using the back of a vacuum cleaner to hold the mic up. We're putting the three prong in the fucking little drawer. You know what I mean? Just finding a way to make it work and recording remixes to like our favorite Lil Wayne and Drake songs at the moment. But but yeah, it's definitely a fun time just tinkering and learning how to make music. And
Who are you listening to at this point in your life?
yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, it was definitely Lil Wayne was on fire. That a Milli video where he's just walking, and kind of interacting with the environment. That one shot video, I think, um, yeah, it changed my life a little bit. Just watching that was dope. Because he had like the skater rocker swag with the hip hop. So I feel like that kind of logically
Yep.
makes sense to me with because I was my favorite group at the time was like Linkin Park. So I just love that. To me, that Meteora, Hybrid Theory, those are probably the best mix records to ever touch fucking, the audio world. Like, yeah, I really love the way that they the scratches, just the whole sound design they had in those records is ridiculous. Um, and the vocal delivery and the raps are, I can tell you a lot of lyrics from Linkin Park um, and like the soul cry from Chester, bro, R.I.P. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, big Linkin Park fan. But yeah, I was definitely getting into more rap. I definitely was listening to I definitely was one of those stereotypical fans where like I really found pride in like finding rappers early. I was definitely listening to yeah, so I was definitely tripping out when that in high school when I found out that the homie or the actor from Degrassi started making music, like, oh, did you hear Best I Ever Had? Like at that moment, that song sonically was, it kind of stepped the bar up too, where
Talking about Drake, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I was yeah, as a kid too, I was like watching TV shows and I stumbled upon that Canadian show Degrassi too, you know what I mean? Where they get into teenagers get into crazy situations and shit. It's kind of like the only show of its kind really where they kind of get away with
I used
putting
to hate
teenagers
that
in
show,
crazy.
dog.
Yes.
I just knew when Degrassi would pop up, that was the end of cartoons for on Saturday mornings. You remember that shit? Once Degrassi came on, it was a wrap. Boom, boom.
I don't even know where I would catch that shit, but they would put some teenagers in some ratchet ass crazy drug
Yeah, I
sexual.
remember that show. I remember seeing one episode. I was like, man, fuck this shit. Give me more Yu-Gi-Oh shit. Like, why the fuck? I think it would end at like at 1 o'clock or so. I forget 12. I think it was like it would end at 12, and Degrassi would pop up. Man, I was like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Give me some more cartoons.
That's funny. I gotta research that because I gotta like where the fuck did I watch this shit? But
But yeah,
but yeah,
Drake's at this point,
that's some twisted shit if it came up after fucking Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like
or so I forgot what was the last show they used to pop off on. I'm pretty sure it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And then Degrassi would pop, and then Degrassi would show. But
that's sick, bro. They set us up for sure.
so okay, so Drake is now, he's becoming Drake. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Are you into Kendrick or Our
yeah,
Future or
exactly.
any of those fools?
Yeah, exactly. I was early into I feel like I was early into J. Cole. I was listening to that Friday Night Lights mixtape a lot. Farewell, still one of my favorite tracks. Definitely early on Kendrick, Section 80. Um, but yeah, I when I like something, I kind of really latch onto it. So I feel like those three are really like people that I listen to a lot. Like I wish I could tell you I got into Currency. I'm like, I need to get in my Currency like era where I just listen to him too, because somebody I really admire. But just like sonically, people that are just easy for me to digest, it's really been Cole, Kendrick, and fucking Drake, and also I really love I remember I'd take train rides to, go visit a friend at the time, and and on train rides I go listen to fucking the Common B album and shit, and Lupe Fiasco, and you know
The more soulful shit.
yeah, Chicago shit, and definitely Dilla, a little bit. Yeah, my homie definitely got me into Dilla and Dwele. Um, but yeah, definitely a lot of music that, inspired me today. Um, yeah.
You said at the beginning of the interview you said that you met your pops at 15. Can you talk about that experience a little bit more? I know you kind of covered it at the beginning, but I mean at 15 years old, mad at the world type shit, you're in your teenage years. How did you feel? How did that happen?
Yeah, I feel like it's actually interesting segue too, because yeah, I've been wanting to talk about how Tyler, the creator, inspires me too, right? Where I kind of wanted to slip it into with Bastard, because I didn't like Yonkers at first, probably because I was hating where like, every all my homies were fucking with this, like, and then I was a rapper trying to come up, where I'm like, nah, fuck that, I mean, I could do way better than that shit, you know what I mean? But you know, I definitely resonated a lot with that Bastard song, especially because he's talking about being a bastard, and you know, if he had a gold revolver, if he saw his dad and all this crazy shit, he's talking about. Um, and and yeah, I definitely remember like as corny as it is, like resonating with that a little bit where like I didn't know that it kind of hurt me not having my pops, but like even like a random Fresh Prince episode where he's like upset about his dad not being there.
Oh,
I was like,
fool. That was one of the saddest shits. I've never seen the
yeah,
Fresh Prince like that, but that
yeah,
clip as probably the
right.
most famous scene in that whole show, dog.
Yeah, and I don't and I saw that shit and I was like, and now yeah, that's one of the episodes, probably one of the handful of episodes that ends on like any note that's not funny, right? So um yeah, I was like, it hit me, and I was like, am I supposed to feel the way that I don't have my pops? Like, you know what I mean? Because like my mom just held it down or holds it down so hard that, I never really, it's kind of blessed to not, you don't feel that lack of it. I feel like, yeah, luckily that wasn't a thing where I ever felt like lack. But yeah, meeting at 15 was crazy. That was a blessing,
Did you go to
through
him
my
or he came to you?
um I think we reached out. It was a blessing because of my grandma, both my grandmas actually, they um they somehow linked back up. They ran into each other, and my grandmother, Martha, was no longer with us. RIP. She yeah, her and my grandma Francisca, they took it upon themselves, I guess, to try to link us back up. And yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how it happened. I was a kid, but I just remember going outside one day and then meeting my pops. And I think I did see him one time as a kid, but I didn't actually get to
You're a kid.
interact with them. I saw him like briefly one time he visited me, but then 15, I got to go interact with them and stay with them and shit. Um, yeah, it's
Do you have a relationship with him now or no?
not as strong as I would like. He lives in Las Vegas, a lot of my other family. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a relationship that I want to, water and learn more about him. And I feel like, probably learn about myself, just learning about him too.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely there's definitely branches in the family tree that I don't know about. And the only time that he really talked about his dad to me was, saying that he went to go visit him and he wasn't in the right state of mind to even talk to him in in Seattle or something. He was like drunk in a trailer or some shit, you know what I mean? So I don't know, that's not the way you want to remember your family, but just definitely want to research, learn more about them. But yeah, it's definitely
I mean, at
yeah,
15, that's a life-changing event, dog, right? I mean, I didn't go through something like that, so I can't be like, oh, I know how that feels, right? But I'm guessing it
that
was
was
an
dope.
experience.
Yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. We kind of like seeing a whole other, side of your family. Um, yeah, I definitely have, a lot of family that moved out from Lennox to Las Vegas. And yeah, it is a trip to, see people that look like you and have your same last name and what I mean, you wanna
And not know nothing about them.
right, right.
You feel me? Like that's how it is. That's what I mean. It's a it's a fucking classic tale in our community. So much family, but how many of those fools do we actually know? You know? Like
Yeah,
all
I
fucking
think it's a
random ass,
shame.
like all your random ass primos fool in Guadalajara or some shit, or all your family in El Salvador. You get what I'm saying? Like I think about my family in Mexico, is family. My mom be bringing up random ass family members. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Oh, that's so and so's kid, or that's my fucking prima from back in the like, And I'm just like, what the fuck? They just spawn family members. Just the more conversations you have with your peoples, the more curious you are, the more fucking family members spawn in. Oh yeah, like, oh yeah, I didn't even tell you about your other cousin, and he has a family, and he lives right here, and then it's like a fucking never ending thing with our peoples. It's beautiful, right? Big ass family tree, but it's just like, damn, these fools be spawning left and right. Imagine in 10 years somebody hits you like, yo, I seen an interview that you did in 2024, right? I'm your primo, like I know so much about you, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know shit about you, dog. Like that's to me, I think about that, and I know that I'm sharing a little bit too much, but that's kind of like one of my fears, fool, like with my family, which is kind of one of the reasons why I need to get in touch with my family. Like I don't want somebody to be like, "Oh, I know so much about you because I tune in and I listen to your shit," and then I'm gonna be like, well, I don't know anything about you. You get what I'm saying? I feel like with some of my family, not all of them, but some family members that I already have a relationship with, I don't want them to learn everything about me from YouTube or from the music. I want to be able to text with them or something, you know?
Yeah.
Random side story right there.
Oh yeah, random side to the just because I saw the Chronic behind you, I think yeah, the Chronic 2001 is definitely a CD that I would listen to religiously in this little speaker that I had. That's like a perfect album for me too. I listened to that and a Coldplay album that my mom gave me too. But
I
yeah,
mean, but
definitely. Yeah, I have a love for like soulful R&B music too and as well. Um
but by the time you're in high school, it's easier to listen to music. I mean, it's not as easy as it is now, right? But like at this point, YouTube, you can rip shit off of YouTube, MP3
right,
players,
right, exactly.
iPods.
iPod,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But
YouTube started up.
besides music though, dog, like, and you talk about how kind of you were a 3.0 student, right? You kind of coasted through high school. You got into your music. And then you go through this life-changing experience with your pops. You start rapping. Sports, are you still involved in sports? Or is this after your knee injury?
Yeah, I wish I was trying out for the JV team and I would have to like I was trying to bust it to the games. I'd get to the game like a minute too late and shit and they wouldn't let me play and
Bench?
bench and but yeah, I was like just trying to make it to the games and had some legendary practices though. But man, yeah, I really in an alternate universe, I definitely played in the NBA, bro.
That's right, dog. Let's
Definitely in an alternate universe.
let's keep it real with you motherfuckers out here, dog.
And I'm
Shit.
definitely gonna get back on the court. I know fucking yeah, some homies trying to get back on the court on Monday nights and shit. I'm trying to start running those games, bro.
Oh, rec league and shit, the YMCA type shit or what?
Nah, just some pull up pickup games, bro.
At the park?
I really love basketball.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'd be in sports, but yeah, it was a moment where yeah, unfortunately I feel like I chose kicking it and kind of like debauchery and like just like just teenager
Rowdy times.
the rowdy life exactly. I pick rowdy times over you know sports and kind of pick music over it too, I guess. But I wish I treated it more like a sport, like J. Cole talks about, right? Where he treats it like a drill, or
Mm.
you know what I mean. But yeah, I definitely yeah, I kind of stepped back from the sports. I had homies that were still in football and shit, and yeah, one of them had a crazy neck injury and shit, and but but yeah, we definitely yeah, my homies definitely love sports, and we definitely be playing on a team if we could. But but yeah, it's definitely get a lot of inspiration from sports and athletes, and like I said, growing up watching the Lakers, and
Well,
I
think about
definitely
it. In high school, you've probably seen the Lakers win back to back, right?
yeah, for sure, 2000s.
When
Yeah, it was
Kobe and Paul
legendary.
Gasol won in 2009, 2010.
Right, right. On top of Shaq and Kobe in the 2000s, right? So
Yeah, so we've been blessed out here
for
during our
sure.
times. Okay, so now you graduate, right? What was the plan after high school?
Man, like I feel like I've been yeah, ever since high school I've kind of had the obsession of yeah, just kind of trying to make it in rap and kind of trying to make it in the entertainment, industry and also coping with like, my own mental and spiritual and just yeah, just trying to figure out what a good life is and whatnot. And um so yeah, I feel like going into going into college, I didn't know that I was gonna become an educator. I didn't really have a plan.
Or before we get into college,
Yeah.
was that the plan right out of high school? Like, I'm gonna go to college, or was there some time in between?
Yeah, no, I definitely like I
Was it
said,
straight
my
out of high
mom,
school?
yeah, my mom, she just placed education on a pedestal. So
Okay.
yeah, she was, constantly telling me you're gonna go to college, you're gonna go to college, you're gonna go to 4 year, you know, da 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 da,
You gotta get your degree.
you're gonna apply, you're gonna get your
Yeah.
degree, people that make more money, da da da, and
The classic
all
college
this all
dream.
the stuff they sell you, yeah.
Yeah. So where'd you land at?
I was lucky to go to LMU,
Okay, LMU.
and
For those that don't know, that's Loyola Mount University. Beautiful campus out here in LA, right?
yeah, Loyola Marymount,
How was
top three
how
school.
how was life like? Like you could be brief with college. I know sometimes with college it's like a weird. It's like, I mean, what else did you do besides go to school, right?
Right.
Well, my story is different, but I guess, you know, knowing you a little bit, I know that your college experience was way different than mine. How was your life in college?
I'm curious about yours too, but um yeah, in college I feel like I was blessed to I saw that on your channel you have a whole Metcha freestyle. I was like, oh, excited to see that.
That was my first performance ever, though. That shit was different. I was in high school. I was a junior in high school when I performed that shit.
I wish I recorded my a freestyle that I did at a Metcha, regional meeting and shit. And but
Okay, so you joined Mecha in college.
yeah, I definitely got like joined some Chicano studies classes, and I was definitely was blessed to join a really dope community in the Mecha and on my campus. And they became some of my best friends and shit. And
What you study?
I studied English and Spanish, and yeah, I took some Chicano studies classes as
Okay.
well.
At what
Uh,
point did this idea of becoming an educator come into your mind?
um, it was really it was really a just a survival thing, to be honest with you. Um, but yeah, I feel like
Was that something that started in college, or was that after you graduated?
that was actually because of college. I think for a class we had to get some experience like tutoring or teaching some students or something. Um and yeah, I think I was already in the process of applying to work at the school. But yeah, at some point, yeah, I think because of a class, I had to go reach out and like volunteer at a school. And then after that, I just decided to apply and work at a school in Lennox.
Mm.
Um, I was blessed to have that full circle moment where I'm like serving my community that I admired from afar. I got to visit on the weekends. I got to visit my cousins, grow up in there, and it was like my little playground. So I got to come back and give back to that community, and really feel
Yeah.
like I was really part of it. It's something I
Community where your roots
appreciate.
begin. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's real. That's honorable.
Yeah, and I was proud of, working there for a few years. And yeah, it's definitely a dope vibe when you get to yeah, just be surrounded by your gente, on a daily basis, and kick it with the kids, and you know, it's definitely a different vibe. Um, yeah, it was special. It's definitely working at the schools that my family members would went to as kids, and and schools that I would have went to if my mom didn't move me out of there. Schools that my cousins went to and my mom went to, right, and aunts, uncles. Um,
That's dope.
yeah, so
What
but
is
yeah, I definitely feel like LMU afforded me dope opportunities to travel and socialize. But yeah, I definitely like and it definitely gave me my first taste of failure too, you know what I mean? Of like dropping the ball, um, you know what I mean? That taste of like blood in your mouth, you know what I mean? Or like, I need to t tighten up type shit too, or like,
or you can't blame anybody else but yourself.
oof,
It
yeah.
just sucks, like.
A lot of moments that still haunt me because of that. I feel like I need to, they fuel me, and sometimes they haunt me for real. Um, but yeah, like, just not having the foresight, being the first to go to college in your family, you don't realize the fact that you're spending every day on campus, you're spending $10,000, right? Depending on what your tuition is, right? So you're not there for free. Like every second, if you're not really socializing, if you're not making a connection, if you're not asking somebody to be your mentor, you're right. If you're not
It's
joining a
more than just the
club,
classes, right? Is what you're trying to say?
right, right. If yeah, there's a lot to it, and I think
Or you said the clubs, right? You were about to say joining the clubs and all
yeah,
that.
it's just yeah, yeah, it's just college is a huge investment, you know what I mean? And I just wish I went into it, with a little bit of the knowledge I have now, right? And that's never possible. But yeah, it's just I hope that like you and me, I feel like we're passionate about making sure the kids now, behind us, don't make the same mistakes we did, or you know what I mean? It's kind of it'll be useless for our struggle, right? So and make our struggle useless if the person behind us doesn't learn from it, right?
Exactly.
Um so yeah, I just want, the kids going into college to really be mindful about getting those mentorships, making those friendships that are, gonna put them in position to win later on. Um,
Give them the tips that we didn't get, or maybe we did get, but we just didn't want to listen
right,
and just stress the importance of doing the networking, going to the clubs. For you, like maybe the Latino students, the Chicanos joining Mecha, stuff like
right.
that. That
Yeah,
is
yeah, you definitely want to leave college with a mentor.
uh,
If you pay for college, you want to leave there with people's numbers, people's emails. You want to leave there with first name basis with people that are going to put you in position to win. Because I had colleagues or whatever that when I was in school that I'm sure they're still working on campus, and you find a way to get into the system. You make the system work for you. You don't get worked by the system type stuff. Um, but yeah, yeah, college was tough for me, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. It was really tough. I feel like that all that coasting in high school caught up to me. It worked in high school, but it didn't work in college. And
if you were to give a piece of advice to a up and coming or to a senior going into their freshman year or somebody starting off their freshman year. I mean, I guess that already happened, but what is the piece of advice you have for a freshman who's about to start, or just in college in general? Let's keep it overall, but let's tailor it towards freshmen, right?
I think yeah, I think a freshman, you definitely want to look at the biggest assignments you're gonna have to do and start working on those. But I feel like as just in general, like if you don't if you're not constantly feeding your brain and constantly challenging yourself to read and output some writing. And if you're not constantly challenging yourself, it's you're doing yourself a disservice, really, and you're setting yourself up to failure in college, because it's just so much reading and writing that you have to do.
It's so fucking difficult to try to catch up halfway through the semester.
Ooh. Exactly.
At
And
that point, you're just like, fuck this shit.
yeah, and then you start cutting classes. Like, how many classes can I miss and still pass? Oh, okay. Right. And yeah, so you wanna yeah, I feel like
We could do a whole episode on college.
you should, bro.
That
That's
shit.
what I wish I did in college for sure.
Yep. What about biggest piece of advice or biggest or let's split up.
And there was a radio station at my college, bro. That's what I one of the things
Okay.
that irks me, bro, is like I had the opportunity to like host a radio station,
And didn't
and
fucking pull the trigger? What?
I was just like, I don't know what I was like, deputy or something, or just like I don't know, home just like all these opportunities that I squandered, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I could have had like a mentor who was like the poet laureate. She loved me, Shout out to Miss McClay, like fucking badass poet. Feel like I could have got mentored by her, like a social justice, a mentor that I could have had, but you know, yeah, I kind of squandered that, and then another opportunity I had with the fucking like manager and what was it, Universal Music that I don't know, like my phone broke or something, I lost a number, I don't know, and I kind of just let that slip out of my fingers, just like a lot of opportunities that kind of keep me up at night, bro. And even a director who like he ended up working with Eddie Murphy. So it's just like a lot of like
Shit that eats your soul up, dog.
ooh, like damn, it's a lot of cheddar I just let walk by, you know what I mean? And not even that, just a lot of life experience too, where you you overcomplicate things, and you get in your head, or even you're too pleasure seeking, and you want to indulge in things that aren't going to help you out, and just saps at your life source, saps at your focus, and you know, you end up, kissing goodbye a lot of opportunities that are right there. But yes,
That shit.
that's a lot of stuff that
That's the type of shit
a lot
that
of white
keep you
hair.
up at night. Yeah, all the squandered opportunities you think of randomly, they just pop up into your head. I'm the same way, dog. I'm the same way. Did you graduate? You graduated, right? You got your degree?
Right, with this story, you wouldn't think so. No, but yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
I made it out by the skin of my teeth, to be honest with you.
All right. So you
That's
you
why I feel like
graduate.
I gotta go back and like
At least you
I need
graduated.
I need to get my master's and run it back, but then I'm scared because it's a whole system, bro. It's like
Oh yeah.
you enter that system and it's like,
You
ooh,
gotta play ball. It's a different kind of ball game there,
exactly,
though.
bro. It's a lot.
So you get your degree right now. I'm guessing at this point you know that you're gonna be some kind of educator, right? You get into the education field, which is to me, though, like I have, my own experience. I come from a after school program background. That's kind of most of my knowledge of the education world, the education field, working with at Promise Youth, working with all grade levels, you know, different parts of the city, in my community mostly. What is like the biggest lesson or a couple of the biggest lessons that you have learned working in the education world, in the education field?
Yes, I feel like unfortunately, well, one, I think yeah, I show up every day to work, for the students, right? And I show up every day because of you know, the inspiration they give me, and it's the memories I had as a student of, learning how to read, and my homie Steve, taking the the time to teach me how to read, and that fuzzy feeling that I remember like, getting where somebody, is putting all their energy on you and focusing like, no, you got to get this, you got it, like so just wanting to give students like that positive experience that I had in education, right? Or like, school was always my happy place, so I like to have like just give them keep it rigorous, but you don't learn from somebody you don't like, right? So just trying to be human with them, but yeah, just the point was that I show up every day for the students and um if and some days um to be honest, you know what I mean, I kind of wish I did have like maybe like a private practice or something where I just had to deal directly with the students and the parents, right? And I think not a lot of people, but some educators are doing that. Um, but yeah, I feel like yeah, the second point I wanted to make was that um yeah, unfortunately, I feel like something I learned in college with all these Chicano study classes was a key nugget, right? The pedagogy of the oppressed, right? Where pretty much oppress people, right? So, unfortunately, working in America, um, you're it's pretty consistent where you'll see like in every organization, maybe not every organization, but majority where you'll see it's a trickle down effect of, people putting each other down, a trickle down effect of people putting down, whatever pressure their boss is giving them, they're gonna compound it on the person under them. You know what I mean? Person upstairs is grilling me, so I'm gonna grill you. You know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes that translates to, a teacher, might be oppressed by for lack of a better word, oppressed by their principal, and then they feel psychologically they're gonna oppress their students, right? Or something, right? It's
You
like,
take it out on them.
right, exactly. Which, you could say that about every every
Every
every job
industry,
in
dog.
America, every industry in
Yeah.
America. But the thing about teachers is that our coworkers are really kids. Like we're working with kids. If the kids aren't gonna work with us in this classroom, shit ain't gonna happen. If this kid doesn't want to learn, it's really not gonna happen.
Yeah, you're not just there to be an authority figure, dog. You're more than that.
Collaboration is really
Yeah, that's literally where the
important.
key's at.
Yeah. So yeah, I find myself, kind of giving my students those coaching conversations every now and then, like my mom would give me too, where sometimes we're not just talking about math and science and whatnot, where, I want you to, think about, black and browns people, we couldn't eat in every restaurant in the 60s. There were signs that said no blacks, no, no Mexicans, no dogs, in that order, right? So, um, yeah, I do teach, yeah, elementary. So it's upper
You give
element.
them a little gems and shit.
Yeah, so I just I kind of want to tread the line of I don't want to totally traumatize my students, but I don't want to keep them totally ignorant of the reality, right?
You want to give them a little bit of that the consciousness.
Yeah, and but um but yeah, definitely that's there's just two things I feel about the education world is, one, the students are, they should be the focal point of, what what we're doing. Their betterment, them being equipped for the future is like what we should be focused on every day, not like
Sometimes there's the last part of the equation, fool, which is fucked up. This should be the first part of the equation.
yeah, I feel like there's just like, a lot of bureaucracy and um but yeah, I feel like yeah, students' voices aren't heard enough. I feel like they don't have opportunities to talk to each other enough, talk to, adults enough in a constructive way. And but yeah, it's just a trippy moment in education where I think we're seeing that, kids don't operate in the same way that they did before. And, you know, it's a different world where, you don't have to go to college is a common phrase now. And entrepreneurship is a common phrase now, and
Content creator.
content creator. And
Uh,
so values aren't the same. And and every kid is funny now because they have the internet and memes. And every kid has a personality because they could just download it. And whether it's a positive personality or not, but every kid is a character now, which is cool. Every kid, I love that though. Like I love that every kid has a little sauce to them, you know what I mean? Like, because there's just so much access that they they all aren't afraid to express themselves.
I mean, think about how cool it is to say out loud that you're an anime fan. Remember back in the day, fool, we used to get clowned on for saying that shit. Now you could say that
Yeah.
with pride, like I love anime. There's a group of students for that, like they like that shit, right?
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's funny when you're like I was mentioning earlier, I was listening to My Chemical Romance and shit in high school, and that shit was like frowned upon, but like it's still kind of hilarious now, or it's not hilarious, but it's like still not mainstream or whatever. It still might be looked like, oh, that's that other shit, but yeah, I feel like yeah, I trip out on like little Uzi Vert and stuff where they're inspired by those dudes that I was inspired by. And I feel like eventually everything that was fringe or weird somehow like comes into the mainstream. And it's just like a yeah, trippy world right now where yeah, like we were talking about, like everything is niche right now. And like a million different trends are going on right now, and like depends on whose feed you're looking at, right? And everybody's living in their own world right now, you know which is it's a trip. And
Probably a trip to see if as a teacher. You get to see it from a different perspective because you get to see 15 to 20 individuals all trying to find themselves at the exact same time. Right? Like how trippy is that, dog? Like I used to trip out when it used to be just me and like five other fools and be like, hey, five of these fools are all different. They're
right,
all trying to figure out who they want to be, like as opposed to when you're on the other side and it's you when you're the student,
it's funny.
right? When all you have to worry about is yourself.
Yeah, my girl, she's also a teacher.
That's right.
And yeah, I guess we can document it that we're expecting a little bundle of joy.
Hey, congrats, my boy.
um
Congrats, dog.
I appreciate you, brother. Yeah,
This
it's
is your
crazy.
first kid? Random question.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, let's get it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole other universe, whole other world. That's gonna be really dope.
Better be a different
Um,
kind of teacher now.
exactly.
Last
Yeah, I
last
think
question about education though, because I do want to cover your music journey, fool.
I feel like I was gonna answer something though real quick. What was the question before that? Oh no, yeah, but no, yeah, my girl, she always tripping out because she teaches middle school.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She teaches like 100 kids a day or something crazy. But I have my same little, group of 20 that I teach every day. And yeah, she's always I'm like I have like my little seating chart. And I'm like, there'd be a time where I was constantly looking at it, right? So I'm like, but I'm like, yeah, I'm very like methodical of like the personalities, right? And like you're saying, like they're all different. So I'm like, yeah, in a way, I'm constantly thinking about ways where I can, improve my class and maybe move somebody here, and oh, they'll probably get along better here. And also when I'm,
The intricacies of being a teacher.
yeah, yeah, and it's like the trillion of decisions you got to make a day is crazy, but yeah, I definitely take in consideration of personalities like a lot. 'Cause yeah, I just want to have a chill class, you know what I mean? I feel like yeah, the once everybody has to get along in the class to get anything done, at least at a basic level.
Last question about education. How how do you deal with the stress of being a teacher, dog? Hear it. This is what I'm talking about. This is kind of hard to be super open about our work experience just because you do have to like say where you work at in district, but without mentioning the district and the schools and all that or the area, because every might be the same district, but different areas call for different experiences. Every school is unique, right? So how do you deal with the unique stress that comes from your school?
Man, I definitely feel like I've been trying to I haven't really had time to think about that. But that's the problem really because for a lot of teachers, you know what I mean, that they don't consider that, you know what I mean, and they end up wearing themselves down and yeah, it's just, it's an unforgiving job and um I feel like
Taxing.
it, it is yeah, it's a I think at its at its toughest days, you're getting, you're getting kind of, on the worst case scenario, right? You're getting disrespected or, talked down to or not getting listened to from your students, you know. You might be getting, shit talked by the
By the staff?
administration, the higher up.
Uh,
Um, we're all doing our best. But it's that pedagogy of the oppressed that I've been talking about, where um, it gets pushed down, but um, yeah, I feel like um, what was I saying? Yeah, how do I deal with stress? Yeah, I feel like that's not something a lot of teachers consider, and that's what leads to a lot of them being, focusing on retirement and you know, not not having the best health and um a lot of teachers are in bad shape, and luckily a lot of the older teachers were able to, purchase housing back in the day and
Back in the
secure that.
day.
Exactly. So that's good for them, right?
How's that good for you though, you know?
Right. It's not so it's
Well, think about this
yeah,
one too.
so
Like,
so yeah, for the young teachers, it's like what do we have forward to look, what do you have to look forward to without despite or without really knowing the system and and investing in the proper ways. But yeah, like luckily I'm really blessed at my school where it is what you make it, and I'm starting to realize that I need to, like I was saying, like ask. I'm learning that I need to ask for these mentors and learn from my mistakes in the past where I was scared to ask for help. I was not, I wasn't comfortable in my skin really, and but now it's like it really is like it is do or die because I'm a young teacher and I need to secure my position too. Um, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's like now I need to really, if I'm gonna be a teacher and educator, I really want to be the best teacher and educator that I could be, and I want to learn from the best educators around me, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like um I'm lucky to have an outlet like music and you know, creating, covers and Photoshop, and even though they're making it harder to do that for free on your phone, but that's something that I have fun to do. Um,
So you get lost in your craft.
yeah, I have a lot of when I can. It's definitely been taxing to, juggle both, to be honest. But that's something that I never wanted to well, one, I decided to have a family, so I have to provide, you know what I mean? And um and I'm blessed to, have um, education, as something that I was pushed to do, and I had a natural knack at it, and I have a familiarity and like a happy feeling when I'm in the classroom. So it was like a natural progression for me to go there. Um, but yeah, I feel like now through self-care, I'm finding like I like reading more about just reading in general. I feel like is it's something that's been giving me um
I love reading. I just have to throw that out there.
yeah, it's been giving me like it's giving me like some fulfillment, and I'm always reading I was always reading like Wikipedia or random things online, but I've been going to actually picking up a book is just something, it's just a different mental high you get from, actually touching the pages. And,
Yup.
I got a whole little library at my crib, and it's like, we got to
Same.
use the resources that we have. I'm sure everybody has a little library that we don't even fucking look at. It's collecting dust and shit, you know what I
You
mean?
can't
But
really see mine, but it's over here.
no, I know you put yours to use and shit. But yeah, I'm just like starting to, blow off the dust of my library and starting to read stuff about like film. And I'm lucky to live at an apartment where people are always kind of putting little books and stuff and little furniture that
Damn,
they're not using out. So I'm always picking up a little book about
that's dope.
film and the Rolling
Interesting shit.
Stone. Yeah, and I would I would constantly be hoarding and collecting stuff, but now I'm really starting to like, okay, I have all this stuff. Let me start sifting through it. Let me start putting the knowledge together. And yeah, it's just I'm excited to, to to be an educator and to be able to provide for my family. And I pray that I'm able to, pour that into my music and, educate people through my music about my people's history, about my people's relevance and their power, their genius, and the way we're able to build pyramids, you know, before the Egyptians, and we have the biggest pyramid in Mexico, and and all this American culture, and the irrigation and the even the sewer system down to the keeping the streets clean, all of these ideas are come from the Aztecs and Mayans, right? And I think we don't even cacao and this coffee, all this stuff is, comes from our people. And, even the gold, all this gold and obsession with gold that comes from our people. And not the obsession with it, but just the fact that this abundance and its power and its significance. It comes from our people and it was stolen from our people, right? And it's just yeah, a lot of culture and a lot of history that was, either one, it was, destroyed, burned, or just not, it's just not highlighted. Um, and I just want to bring light to my people's, like you said, like to their struggles, but also to the resilience, you know. Got to keep the balance. And but yeah, I just feel like the Brown story is finally getting told, and I just want to add to the database. I want to add to the archives.
Well, we kind of got into it was it happened naturally, right? We kind of started talking about your music now, and you've dropped some information like your first microphone setup on the vacuum. The vacuum was the handle, right? You've
Yeah.
talked about your well, you just finished talking about the content of your music and the kind of lyrics people should expect from your music, right? I have some music questions that I want to ask you to kind of paint the bigger picture or the full picture of your music journey, right? So we covered your first kind of like your first setup, right? We talked about your content. First song that you released. Do you remember that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I was saying, Lil Wayne and Drake were like at the top of the world at the time. Um, so me and the homies were definitely doing a lot of like remixes and covers to that stuff. Um, the song that got us suspended was also like a Lil Wayne ransom remix. Um, so yeah, it was definitely some Drake and Lil Wayne remixes for sure. Um,
Was it on SoundCloud or where were you releasing these songs? YouTube,
it was on MySpace,
MySpace Music.
for sure, MySpace. Yes, classic man, and it's classic memories, bro.
Same. I'm in that same boat, dog. MySpace Music.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we were just like I said, I was inspired hearing my brothers Nico and Marvin, spitting on a Millie remix. And yeah, they were, tinkering and I was super inspired by them, and I was like, oh no, I gotta record too. And I ended up recording like they probably recorded like maybe two 16s. I definitely recorded like a 64 bar verse, like just like
Oh shit,
extra long, just obnoxiously long, and
just taking over.
yeah, just super like new to the game and just new to recording in general.
Mm.
But yeah, it was I definitely filled up a couple rhyme pages for that song, you know what I mean? And just like and and yeah, I remember just early in high school, I'd have a lot of fun memories just freestyling in the bus and bus stops and kicking it in front of the liquor store at the end of the day every day, and just freestyling for the homies. And my homie Eric is like a prolific freestyler and super nasty with it, and he'd be rapping against you know the the other kids, and it would
So a whole battle?
kind of turn into a little battle between the Mexicans and the Armenians again in high school. And but it was friendly, it was luckily
But
it was
through
creative.
music. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And
That's funny.
yeah, eventually Me and the homies, we had a rap battle against another guy because they were talking smack about us getting suspended or whatever, and you know what I mean. So just funny shit like that, just rapping and for the homies and our peers and just trying to get respect like that. And I remember even rapping at the Glendale Galleria for like and rapping at Pacific Park and shit, and like, oh, you're dope. You got to go rap with the homie over here, and so we made our way over there, and now I'm freestyling with the homie's homie, and in the alleyway of the Glendale Galleria and shit. Just fun shit like that where um, so yeah, it's we're just recording a little bit, and eventually we got suspended and all that shit, and after that we were still with the music. Um, and yeah, at that point in high school, I was blessed to have like three homies that all had a studio and they were very passionate about music. And yeah, my mom, she gave me a lot of freedom, so I'd be jumping around these three different studios. My mom might not see me, for a whole weekend, or might not see me for like a couple days at a time, and 'cause I might be at one of these three studios, and yeah, I was blessed to pretty much grow up at my homie Ray's house, my homie Marvin's house, and yeah, I was blessed that their moms would cook for me a lot, and second homes over there, and um but
Did
yeah,
you would you write your lyric? I mean, you say you had notebooks, right? But did
yeah,
you ever do the transition from the notebook to the phone, or how do you write your lyrics?
yeah, I definitely I still do both, but it's definitely more in the phone now. um I feel like, yeah, I do love to write on paper, and it gives me a different feel and everything. um but yeah, I feel like, yeah, I just need to be better about writing down every little idea. You know what I mean? Because that's something I just heard a little clip about Eminem too, saying that he writes down every little idea. As soon as it comes to your mind, you got to write it down. And yeah, there's so many little ideas and songs that I feel like, again, I just let slip out of my fingers because you got to be vigilant about that shit. You know what I mean? And you never know when idea's gonna come. And he says like, you might like fucking 2 years later, you might connect an idea, and oh, let me find that notebook, and it's five notebooks ago, and make script, go through these pages. But if you're really about music and you're really about writing songs and crafting this shit, it does kind of have to be an obsessive thing where you're kind of constantly always writing. So I feel like I am kind of getting to that point where I need to just be constantly writing and always have a notebook with me. Um, but yeah, right now I'm still establishing myself as a teacher, and ideally those two worlds like bleed into each other, and they're able to you know grow together. But that's the plan. But yeah, it's tough.
Any live performances?
Oh yeah, and yeah, high school, my my mom was super supportive, and she set up our first performance and stuff. And I got to, I think we opened up for Cuba Gooding Jr.'s like brother, who also raps, um and another artist, Raven Sorvino, that my stepdad was managing at the time and stuff. And um so yeah, my mom was super supportive, and she still is. And um so yeah, we were doing like the talent shows, and my I would get inspired by my homies like Marvin and Eric, because they'd rise to the occasion. And I kind of have like little stage fright, but yeah, I was inspired by the homies. I'm always awed by the people that are able to kind of shift the energy in the room, the energy in the crowd, with their confidence and do it in a constructive, positive way. Just like how I saw Lupe Fiasco recently, where he's like bringing a kid on stage and, just like, yeah, it's just like a different vibe when you're able to be like, cerebral about the shit. Um, but yeah, definitely, talent shows and whatnot. And, you know, yeah, then I got to open up, I got performed with my homie McSteezy, and, he's a legendary performer in his own right. A lot of shows under his belt in the Pasadena area, legendary Pasadena artist. And, um, I got to perform with him, and we opened up for Blue, and, and that was, that was dope, just picking up, game from him. I'm always learning from the plethora of dope ass artists in LA. And, you know, so yeah, I feel like, yeah, in high school, we were just, working at it. We kind of made a little rap group, you know, RTC, and then we called it Culture. And I feel like we should have called it Culture. That would have popped for sure. But but yeah, it's definitely, we were like a five part rap group. We had a R&B singer, and we were definitely cooking for a minute, man. And unfortunately it fills it out. But there's still blessed to have homies from that era, that, like I said, one of my homies is a successful studio owner. And you know the homies are still cooking up and still making music. And you know yeah, I feel like, I'm still kind of taking inspiration from those high school days, college days of, just trying to figure it out of, what does it take to be an artist? What does it take you know, um, to create, but also to get your music heard. And, like, what kind of, plays have to be made, right? And, so yeah, I feel like, I'm constantly, dissecting the past in a way. And, just trying to use it to my benefit and not let it discourage me. You know what I mean? Try to use it as fuel. And, and try to water the bridges that I have, and double back for a couple opportunities, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, I feel like life is short. And yeah, you never know. There's a lot of opportunities to be had. And but yeah, I'm just excited to build with the people next to me, you know what I mean? And to move forward. And yeah, just be an asset for different teams. And, for all the teams that I choose to be a part of and that choose to align with me. You know what I mean? I just want to, just be a positive force in the world. Um, but
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I mean, I guess we that was kind of that was gonna be one of my questions, like what is the future, what is the goal? But I guess you kind of just covered that, right? What about any music videos?
yeah, I'm excited to get into that chapter. I feel like I was, yeah, in those college days and high school, I feel like I was doing too much barking and not enough biting. And I was constantly telling people what we should be doing, and not putting in enough action. You know what I mean?
Uh,
I'm always saying, "Oh yeah, we need music videos. That's what makes people connect to the artist. That's what makes them connect." And then I don't put any music videos together. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, I'm excited to just, to not be afraid of success anymore, and to, just to step into my skin, you know what I mean, and be comfortable stepping into the limelight and being comfortable in my skin. And so yeah, I invested in, green screens and tripods and lenses and whatnot, and my little way, just trying to be, you know, self-sufficient, and kind of as many levels of the creation process as I can. And um yeah, I think I've just been psyching myself out to create the music. And it is definitely yeah, I just want to move, strategically too. I feel like you need to have a lot of content if you want to pop, and you need to have a strong presence, a strong character to if you really want to make, like you say, play the game, right? If you want to play the game, you're gonna need some ammo, and you're gonna need, the conviction and the ego and the confidence to say, like, fuck it, I'm gonna take up space, and I'm gonna do this shit. And I have this fucking 3 months of content to fucking hit you back to back to back to back with. You know what I mean? So um
I mean, now you have this whole podcast, dog. You can that's like 100 clips off of that shit, dog.
hell yeah.
You know, like you got 100 clips right there, and you talk about so many fucking. You could 5 clips of every chapter in your life, dog.
No, I appreciate you, brother. No, I feel like that is the chapter that I want to enter with is like I've been super inspired by these the MCs that are like indigenous cats and Audio P, and just dope artists that are keeping this um this new like Latino indigenous Hispanic consciousness, right? Because I always hated the word Hispanic, but now I'm starting to hate the word Latino, because even Latino is comes from the Romans, Latin language, right? Um, so even that is like, derives from a white culture, and it's like, I do accept that, we are Latinos are what is it? La raza cósmica. We are, a mix of every race, right? We um just because I believe in the fact that, you know, the theory that life started in Africa and then walked across the Bering Strait, or walked through Asia and then through the ice and then round to North America and down to South America, right? So I believe that Latinos, we're like the final, or indigenous, right? Wherever we decide to call ourselves, right? I believe that we are, we're a mix of every race. We see ourselves in everybody. Um, you know, we we have love for everybody. Um, because if you look in our DNA, we literally are made up of everybody. Um, but yeah, I feel like um yeah, I'm just talking now. I'm just gonna say.
All good, dog. Don't trip. Were you saying how like that inspires your next
Yeah,
chapter as an
exactly.
artist,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, the political tip. I'm inspired by these artists that are, yeah, keeping the brown consciousness, in their lyrics. And that's something that inspires me. You know what I mean? I feel like there's been a billion lyrics about, getting women, getting money, killing your ops, you know, um, you know, this, that, and the third, taking drugs, you know, so many. And even from, conscious artists that I like, you wouldn't expect it from. But I feel like yeah, it's just like that's what sells, is like constant destruction. And
Destruction and distraction.
right. And that's like, yeah, I was just uninspired with writing for a while, because I was like, You know what I mean? I didn't see where I could fit in, but I'm just inspired now that I feel like okay, I can use my music for a productive way and like, you know, add to our political struggle, add to our collective consciousness with the music, add to our collective pride, you know, and yeah, I feel like yeah, I've always had you know, an idea that, you know, that I would you know, I something that I would draw as a kid constantly was me playing like you know, as the lake with the Lakers or something, just being in the center of a crowd, just like glorious shit. You know, I grew up watching Gladiator too. Like that was my favorite movie. It is my favorite movie. You know, that the feeling of the crowd and being in the center and, you know, like giving the people to something to cheer about. Like that's something that I really, you know, I strive to, you know, one, be worthy of that moment and to two, you know, really, you know, own that moment and not, you know, not shy away from it and really, you know, own whatever power that I have, you know, and yeah, I just wanna yeah, just add to the LA championships type shit.
Last question about music, and this has a little bit to do more on. Was it's not even like a question. It's kind of like it's a question of related to music that I did. Well, first of all, let me take that back. I had D Steezy in here a couple
Oh man,
episodes ago, and he talks about how y'all met at a
yeah.
fucking campfire, or
Oh no shit, he told you about that?
he say he told the story on the podcast.
Oh wow.
How do you remember that day? I totally forgot. I literally said I was gonna ask him about this. I totally forgot, but I remembered it right now. How did from your perspective, how did that day go? He said he just stumbled upon y'all and then y'all just started kicking it and freestyling. Is that true?
Yeah, bro. That was one of like the best days I had in a like many years, but it's crazy how long ago it was now too. And yeah, I'm blessed to just to run back into you guys, bro. Like I know some type of spirit looks out for me like that, where I'm able to like I'm saying, double back for those opportunities and those, you know, those good vibes too. Because yeah, these is just crazy good people. And but yeah, I remember I was just with my family and shout out to my, you know, my cousin Alejandra, who just has, you know, she just has a crazy, she's super outgoing, always fucking, her and her squad just always roll deep. And you know, I mean, they're always partying, going to TJ, and you know, not just on a school trip like me. They actually go and travel, and they're always like, you know, they're always like in Coachella or some crazy shit. So whenever I feel like, you know, doing some crazy shit, I'm gonna go hit up, you know, my cousin Ale and shit. And she yeah, so her and her friends are always doing crazy shit, and they went up to the Kern River. And my mom too, like I said, she's like a crazy wild spirit too. And you know, so you know, she wanted us to go up there, and we're just you know, just kicking it and you know, rowdy times and whatnot. And you know, and it was cool just soaking it up and kicking it with her squad and you know, my mom's. And you know, and going to the river. And I think yeah, people were like, you know, and going down the river in their tubes. And some people's like the river is like not as big as it used to be, so people are like their tubes are skidding on the rocks, and they're like barely making out of it alive and shit. And that's crazy. But but yeah, it was definitely fun times. And And yeah, but as the night was winding down, I don't know what happened that I don't know if we went to another site or what it was, but there were some chairs just in a circle already. And I don't think it was part of our group. We went and just went kicked it with another group and um yeah, I feel like we were sitting and then all of a sudden D Steezy he pulled up with like a little cooler. He pulled up with like a thing of brews, like like the Kick It Santa Claus or just like a whole bag of
Pulled up,
goodies.
pulled up with bruise, dog. Just
Yeah, he just pulled up with like a whole little cooler of brews. And
classic.
it was definitely with me and my family just in a circle. Definitely my uncle was there, my my cousin and my mom's and a couple of her homies and yeah, as it like as it happens when people are in a circle and they're tipsy a little bit and music's playing, sometimes people just start talking about freestyling and beats go come on and yeah, we just started having a dope freestyle sesh, man. It was one of those times where yeah, I was just on and I just kept going and yeah, I was happy to have a few memories like that where I'm freestyling and I something I say might impress somebody and it's the high that you can't replace and um so yeah, I'm just lucky that Steezy still remembers that moment and yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Think I had a bar about Pac and Big looking down on me and saying he's nice or some shit like that and just it's a dope freestyle moment but yeah, I remember that moment led to Steezy telling me like, oh, you gotta meet up with my homie at the Pico U State Center. And and that was I got to, get in contact with Soul Real and I actually met him in his studio and that was a blessing. Super inspired by him, to this day. And I was just watching his episode with you on this and tripping out on you guys and but yeah, definitely just inspired by Steezy too and his shit he's doing with the city and what I mean, he's working with City Hall at some point, right? And all this
Well,
crazy
with
stuff.
everything that he has going on for him.
Right.
You brought up So Real. I wanted to ask you this because a couple years ago you did a cover for one of our singles,
Hmm.
right? How did who So Real reached out to you? How did that come about?
Man, I think oh yeah, it must have been around the time of the pandemic, maybe something um
Because that's what led us to build the relationship.
right. Yeah, so I feel like ever since that time, and that was like to keep it real, yeah, I learned a valuable lesson from Soul Real. It was another one of those, tasting blood in your mouth moments where I was late to the meeting, which is like I still kick myself. Another one of those like tossing and tossing and turning moments, right? Where but but I definitely yeah, like I wasn't, I was taking the bus and I didn't plan it out right and I got to the fucking meeting at So Real hella late and but he told me like, "Oh yeah, bro, if you're not early, you're late." You know what I mean? And I feel like I could have rapped the most amazing shit ever, but the fact that I was already late kind of already soured the situation, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I'm even blessed to, like full circle moment where, I was still a fan of him, still following him, respecting the fact that he cuts up the records and he's a Latino and
Salvadorian.
oh shit, I didn't even know that. But yeah, he's, cutting up, just has like a classic like woo style to me. He's like RZA, like on the West Coast type shit to me, you know what I mean? And um so yeah, I was just dope linking up with him and getting that knowledge from him and um so yeah, I was still following him obviously and I feel like I was just at a moment where I was kind of thinking of a way to sneak in the game, I guess, or kind of thinking of a way to
Slide
add
in the
value.
DMs.
Right. And and yeah, I don't know what happened to me where I was just kidding. I got the crazy idea of like, you know what, I'm making covers, I'm making creative shit on my phone or whatever, and I'm you know what I mean? And it was really crazy because I was just barely starting to make anything. But yeah, I was just like, I had the crazy idea of like, yo, let me just cold hit up some artists that I'm a fan of and see if I can make them something, creatively. And luckily two of my favorite, artists hit me up, or are accepted, and so I was able to make something for you guys, which is super exciting and that actually making that cover actually got me into the Fools Gone Wild like rabbit hole and even that kind of gave me more cultural pride because I got to dip into that like
That
area.
world.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh shit, there's a whole thing going over here. Where is this fool going?
Well,
Where is
it's
all that shit?
we. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gone wild? Who's gone wild? Like now they're at a level that it's like an established institution for in our community. Dog, everybody knows Fools Gone Wild. We fuck with Fools Gone Wild,
Right. They
but
have a
we
whole
we kind of like started at the same time, right? It was like the
lot.
Fool shit, and it was like the Fool movement, and then boom, it blew
Yeah.
up. That's why we kind of like it just happened when it happened at the same time. This whole page is starting to build up. Because all these other Fool pages are starting to come around, and
Yeah.
it was like an accident. It was like an accident. It's not like we seen them. It was like, oh, let's ride their wave. It was like we thought of it over here, and then this over here is happening at the same time, right? And so he was like, we have to do covers kind of that kind of give off that same energy, right? Like that second one, that the second album that we dropped, Sick Ass Fools. The cover is a screenshot of a fucking blood in, blood out fucking scene. Like from the movie Blood In, Blood Out, right? And everybody fucks with
Right.
Blood In, Blood Out here, right? The
Right.
Back at It Again, the single. You did the cover, like he was specific with including fucking Scorpion Thumb, rest in peace. That fool fucking what's that fool's name? Kevin? Remember that fool? Rest in peace. It was like the fool that was like real popular on the internet. Scorpion Thumb,
What
Rip
was
and
it? The
Dip.
Jesus Christ one?
No, it was a different fool. A Rip and Dip.
Oh
You
shit.
remember? So like he gave you all these like pointers. Like that's where there's the low bombita in there. There's a bunch of fool related images in that cover. I just always wanted to ask you about that cover because after that we kind of connected. I hit you up. We I was still on social media at the time, and that's how we connected. And which years later we're having this we're having this pod interview. But to wrap it up, we've come to the end of the podcast interview. I want to ask you one final question. If you could talk to the future Chris E.R, what would you ask him?
Mm, man, probably ask him, how did you do it? Um, because yeah, I'm hoping that future ER is definitely 100 paces ahead of this one, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And but yeah, just ask him how did you do it? And what did you do it for, man?
Mm.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you, my boy. Thank you for taking time out of your night, Sunday night, to record this interview with me. I know we had an episode with my old podcast, Rowdy Talk, but that was a whole different conversation. Um, and we kind of connected recently, and I was like, let me ask this fool to see if he's down. So thank you for accepting the invitation. Uh, thank you for telling your story. Thank you for being vulnerable with myself and your family, your friends and followers, the people that listen to this podcast, or just anybody in general. Thank you for being as open as you can with all these topics. I know some of these topics are really intrusive. Sometimes I feel like a Fed asking people these questions, but I believe that in order for people to to tell their story, we have to take them to we have to go to a certain place that, like when you were talking about the college stuff, yeah,
Mm.
it's cool and everything, but we don't want to go there though. Like we want to avoid those times. Like when people ask me about my college times, I want to avoid talking about those times, but we have to be willing to go to those places because that's how we learn, right? And I want to thank you for doing that because I know it's hard for going to certain places that mentally we don't want to be at. Sometimes we don't want to fucking open our heart up and shit. So,
Where,
any final words?
man, just appreciate you, appreciate everybody listening in. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, just I hope everybody tuning in, we hope we added some light, some knowledge, some, any positivity that we could add to you. And I hope pass it on to the next person. And you know what I mean? Let's make this world as habitable and as comfortable for ourselves, mentally, spiritually, physically, and for each other. You know what I mean? As possible. Let's live it up. It's a short life until they're able to, send our spiritual into another metal vessel. So till then, we gotta, treat ourselves kindly and treat each other kindly.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
thank you for that. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. The O3 exhibit. It's your boy O3 signing off. Don't forget to love yourself today, all right? Adios.
Mm.